Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Bars. Speaking right now is Keltie, and virtually beside me is the one, the beautiful Sav. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing on this fine Friday morning?
You know what? I'm doing good. I just finished my morning routine. I feel like energized, ready to go. Like I've been traveling lately, so this is my first only official morning routine in like 3 weeks, and I feel like I finally am not like trying to burn the world down. Like it's like,
Yes.
oh, I'm organized. It's so nice.
Do you, when you are traveling, do you have a morning routine like when you're in Sweden?
Yes, like I definitely have it. Like I can't function without it. Like it's the structure to my day. I need to do it. Otherwise, like you don't even know what to do with your day. Do you know what I mean? Like it helps set me up, feel grounded. It's almost more important when I travel, but you can't fully do it when you travel. I have my mock shortened like 3-step morning routine that I'm like, hey, this is the bare minimum versus my a bit more elaborate day-to-day one.
Yes, I love that. It's also fun when you are with different people, you have different morning routines. When my mom
Fully.
comes to visit, I'll like go sit outside with her and have coffee, where usually if it's just me, I'm like working immediately, you know?
Yeah. Oh, fully. Even as simple as like I was with my mom in Houston and it was like I went and got a coffee, but also brought my coffee, got a coffee for my mom and like brought it up and we had coffee together kind of thing. Versus like I'm
Aw.
same. I'm like I have my coffee and I'm just like doing everything we'll talk about in this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Which leads us into this episode, actually. Do you want to give them a little rundown?
So what we're doing today is we're both productivity health girlies. Like so yeah, sometimes we're shitspos, but we have both bonded that we have like a structured morning routine and it's not overwhelming. It's not like you see some people and it's like step by step and like it's just too overwhelming. It's like, no, we just have a few basic things that we do every single day that really set us up for success and just brings momentum into the rest of our day. And we thought we would bring you guys through them. They'll be affordable, they'll be realistic, and maybe you can take 1 or 2 things that will just make your life a little bit more, dare I say, optimized.
Absolutely. Would you consider yourself type A or type B?
I don't know. Like, I'm so creative in that sense, but like, I've learned as a creative, so I'd be like type B, but I'm like very anal about my creativity. Do you know what I mean? Like I have really structures and all this, because if I just let myself wild, then like nothing gets done. So I'm like a type B that is detail orientated, if that makes sense.
Okay, yes, that totally makes sense. Because I'm like, are we both type B people with our morning routines? Because some people, I know for nighttime routines, some people are like to a T, where I'm definitely type B, where I'll kind of go with the flow.
See, that's funny. Like I'm a bit more type A with my morning routine, but then like I'm a naturally type B kind of person, which I'd feel like the opposite. You're a bit more of a type A kind of person, but type B with your morning routine, which is kind of funny.
Wait, yes. Type B with how I live, type A with everything else.
Yeah. And then I'm the opposite. Type B with my mind, but then type A with my life.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a phrase for those kinds of people.
I don't know. There's like ambiverts when you're kind of introverted and extroverted. Something like that. Whatever that is for type A. We're type C. Simple as
Type
that. We're type C.
Yeah. They ask you, I'm type C, actually. Go away.
Yeah. Just don't ask questions. I'm going to use that from now on. That's good.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well then, let's start it off with number 1. The most important thing to starting your day is waking up. So first step, I love to hear how you wake up. But for me, I used to wake up with the classic iPhone ring. You know the one. The ding, ding, ding. And to this day, you can't hear that and not release like excessive cortisol. At least for me, I'm just like, so I do have it set up so that it's like that easy wake one for like actually, say I wake up at 5 a.m. So that one comes for 5. And then I have the 5:10 emergency one comes on just in case the quiet one doesn't fully wake me up. But that's how I have it set up. How about you?
Well, I definitely have the OG iPhone.
Oh, wow.
Because
Savage.
when I sleep, like nothing will wake me up. So I have to have it. I've done it where like when I lived in a sorority and we all lived like in this attic, like with bunk beds. It sounds super weird, but you weren't allowed to have an alarm clock. So what you would do is you would put your phone on your bed and the vibration would wake you up. So I got used to that and I got really good. For a while I'd sleep through it. But I don't know. just literally will snooze all my alarms. So for me, I'm opposite, where I almost need it to like smack me. Otherwise, I won't get up.
Yeah.
Like I'll just
That's
keep
fair.
snoozing it and snoozing it. And like Michael could vouch because he's someone that's like you, where he's like, I need it calming. He's always like, why don't you switch it to calming? If I do, I just sleep through it. Like I do not wake up to the alarm. So different alarms for different folks, you know?
Yeah. It's one of those things, if I don't have an alarm, I know I'll wake up within 10 minutes of my alarm. That's just how I've always been.
Really?
It's like subconsciously. So like I almost don't need it, but it's that backup just in case. Versus like Megs, it's funny. He's like 10 alarms, will snooze them all, and he needs to be woken up. Versus like I'll just kind of naturally wake up when I'm supposed to. I don't know what it is, but that's my one super trait.
Some people talk about Sleep Cycle, the app, that basically the idea is like, I think you said it, a 20-minute period where like it'll pick up if you're like rustling around in your bed, like obvious that you're no longer in REM sleep or something like that.
Yeah.
REM sleep, not realm. In the realm of sleeping.
Roaming around in your dreams.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if it's
used
accurate.
to use that.
Did you?
I used to use that app, and it was nice. It had like a 20-minute wake up, like you said. Like if you woke up at 7, it would kind of start really quiet at 6:40. But I found for me, no matter what setting, I'd always wake up like 6:40, 6:41. Like the tiniest of thing would wake me up. But Apple has that with their the new update. You can put your sleep cycle in, the time you want to go to bed and wake up, and that alarm is more of a gradual one. And I find that better than the sleep cycle personally. But everyone's different, and I'm just an Apple loyalist. So am I blinded? Yes.
Maybe. You've taken a bite of the apple. But
I have.
Me too.
They own my soul. They own my soul. I was invited to the media event yesterday, and I'm like, own my soul. So, sorry,
Was it
Apple.
cool? What is a media event?
It was the new store is opening today, so I got like sneak peek. Like it was like all the news outlets and like a couple of YouTube like influencers, I guess, lack of better words. But I noticed it wasn't like influencer. It was like a couple like tech reviewers, and then there was like me, and then a couple other YouTubers. So I was like, wow, Apple knows I exist, guys. That's my biggest flex in life. I can die happy. I got a tote. I got an Apple tote.
I love. Wait, you didn't get a freaking free phone or anything? Oh,
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Coming to a YouTube near you. Something maybe a brewing.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited. I'm very jealous. I love how you said there's tech. I'm imagining like food critics, but tech critics, and then there's you. That's yep, looks good. It works.
Love it.
I
was like, does it read my heart rate? Good. Looks pretty. Love it.
Yeah. It's matching with all of my blues.
Most important thing.
Literally.
Okay. Speaking of important thing, number 2. What do you do? Alarm goes. What's your next step? I know what it is.
Okay.
Tell the viewers.
Well, if I'm being honest, my next step is I give Bentley a good old cuddle. That's something. He sleeps at our feet, and he knows. We drag him up, we snuggle him for 2 minutes, and then he pushes away. Then I get up, and I usually make our bed. I am the one that makes the bed in this relationship because Michael could literally not touch that bed for a week and not care. Where for me, I feel more organized if my bed is made. And like, that's always been I used to not make my bed, and I just felt like the rest of my day was messy. Like I want to walk into our, room, and it looks picture perfect.
I couldn't agree more. I think I read a book about it was just that classic self-help books like 10 years ago, and it was like, make your bed right when you get up. And then I started doing it. I've never stopped. And exactly, you wake up and your day just seems a bit more put together when you go back into your bedroom. But Meg's is also the same. If I'm not, when we're not together, the bed is never made. It's just when I'm there.
Yeah, totally. And when I was in college and had my own room, I actually made my bed every single day, and I would clean every single night because I would sweep the floor. I was so organized, where I think with another person I'm not as organized because maybe he throws his clothes, whatever it may be. But I was to a T with my bedroom. Also it was my thing. It was my own little space. Yeah. So I think I felt like I just always had it picture perfect. Everything was made up. Everything was put away. And I love that. Even though I'm not a clean person, but weirdly, I was clean in my room.
Yeah, just something about it. Just organized. Especially, I also feel there's something about a smaller space. when you have a smaller space, you tend to be a bit more anal, at least for me personally too, because when you're a bigger space, like a little bit of clutter doesn't make the place cluttered. But when you're in a small like dorm, one thing cluttered and your place looks like a pigsty. So I feel there's also a little bit of, and it doesn't take that long to clean up. So I think there's a bit of that as well in it.
Yeah, my dad also literally has like OCD with cleaning. And he, growing up, like I would go back and forth to my parents because it was joint custody. And I was so messy. All kids basically are messy, right? If you're not, you're a little bit psycho. And he would get so mad because I would be so incredibly messy everywhere that he said, if you leave like a sock out of your room, I'm throwing it away. So he would do that. I would literally go to the garbage and all of my clothes that I left would be in the trash. So like, I just now know to, like, of course I get messy, but I think that stems from me being neat in college with my room was I would get my shit thrown away in the trash if I didn't. And like, it's harsh, you know, but at the same time, I'm like, thanks dad for doing that. And so I literally threaten Michael all the time. I'm like, I'm going to throw your shit away. And he's like, what? No. I'm like, get it out of my sight.
It works. Sometimes we need some hard love in life. That's life.
Yeah, exactly. That's life. What's your step 3?
Step 3, I think we can all resonate with, but we'll go into a bit more detail. Step 3, I get out of bed, make my bed, roll over, splash my face with some water, get into my skincare routine. So my skincare routine in the morning is pretty simple. It's just vitamin C, honestly, hero product. If you haven't considered it, consider it. But I use SkinCeuticals, then I put in a moisturizer. That kind of changes depending on the season. Sunscreen. And that's kind of my 3-step. Then I also do some anti-pollution like sunshine drops and some like BB cream, but that's a bit more skincare. But that's my 3-step skincare routine. How about you?
Wow, I love that. Mine is, I'll usually shower immediately. Or recently our hot water heater, well, it hasn't worked, period, since we've moved into this house. So I've gotten really used to lukewarm or cold showers, so it doesn't entice me to shower right away. But usually I will wash my face, and then I'll go straight into like vitamin C. I have like a moisturizer surge mask that I put on with Clinique, and then I'll do like sunscreen before I actually go outside.
Love it. What sunscreen are you using right now?
I'm using Tula. They have,
nice.
they have like a glow sunscreen that I just absolutely love. It's like, it looks like natural highlighter, and I've gone through like 2 bottles since, I don't know, the summer. What are you using?
Love that. I've used Drunk Elephant for a long time because then I add in their sunshine drops, which I find like if you just use it, I know a lot of people say it causes white cast for whatever reason, probably because I'm just a pale girly. It's never white casted on me and it doesn't break me out. I find it like moisturizing, and then you add the sunshine drops and it gives a little bit of a nice glow. So that's my go-to, but I'm not like committed. I'm kind of at that like, you know what? I've had a good 2 years with Drunk Elephant sunscreen. I'm like, I'm shopping. I'm sure it's worked, but I think I might cheat. You know, I'm considering it.
Alex Rice told me,
getting stale.
Yeah. Alex Rice told me about a sunscreen. I wish I had the name. My mom still buys it. It's like red in a tiny bottle. And I would use it.
I know
what is it called? Do you remember?
It's like MD or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I know Hailey Bieber uses that one. So because of that,
Really?
me and Hailey Bieber have very similar skin types and like both sensitive kind of dry gals. So I'm like, you know, if she uses it, I should probably use it.
So did you get her like lip oil, or is that Kylie? What one has the famous lip oil?
I think they all do at this point. I know Hailey Bieber just came out with some lip product that everyone's raving about. Is it a lip oil or like a lip mask or lip something?
It's something that like everybody loves. Yeah.
I need to try it. We'll try it. We'll let you guys know. We'll give it a go. And
one
coming
day when
to
we get
a
our
winter
hands.
favorites.
Yeah.
Winter favorites coming soon, and maybe we'll talk about it if it becomes a favorite.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, number 4. Now, are you a lemon water in the morning kind of gal?
So right away, no, because it is so acidic on my stomach. If I do lemon water, it's like midday. But what do you do?
So I'm the same idea. Don't get me wrong, it looks so nice. But for me, I was like, I'm just gonna get some water in me. I don't really like super cold water right when I wake up either. I was like, I just need water. But if you want something energizing, coffee's good. But move aside lemon water, move aside coffee. You want some real energy when you wake up? Salt water. Now that sounds repulsive, so don't get me wrong. Now I use element. I know you use Ghost electrolytes, which electrolytes are pretty much sodium, potassium, magnesium. And I have that first thing in the morning. And it is a game changer because you wake up dehydrated. And that also means lack of electrolytes. So you have that. The energy boost you'll have is incredible. So if you're a lemon water girl, stick with it. If it makes you drink water, I love it. But maybe consider adding a little salt to it and see how it improves your energy. Have you ever had like electrolytes in the morning, or is that a workout thing for you?
No, so actually I'll do Ghost later on in the day. Michael and I, when we wake up and when we have water in general, we put pink salt into it. Because majority of the time when it's filtered water, because we use a Brita, whatever it may be, it kind of it strips the natural elements and minerals. So the salt water really helps. So at first it's weird because you taste it's a little salty, but you just do like a little crack in there, a little splash in, and then you kind of get used to it. But we always just put pink salt in, and we just get it from Trader Joe's and just crack it in. Like, how it's like a pepper cracker? What is that?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Pepper grinder.
Grinder. There you go. Yeah.
Cracker.
I know. I was like, crack is like such a intense word. Crack. It's like
that is many
Mean Girl
meanings.
reference. Wait, Mean Girl reference. Say crack again. Crack. Do you remember that?
Crack. No, I don't.
So
I haven't seen the show in so long.
It's the guy is like saying it to Janice in Mean Girls, and she says something about crack, and he goes, "Say crack again." She goes, "Crack."
Oh, yeah.
I love Mean Girls.
Okay, now I remembered. Oh, so good.
I stand
so
with
good.
Lindsay Lohan coming back into the industry, by the way. I already watched her new movie. Yeah. It is so incredibly cheesy. It's a Christmas movie on Netflix that is like gag worthy, but it's like Hallmark on steroids. Like, she one time washes her hair, and then the next scene she's brushing it after it's washed, and it's perfectly curled. You're like, come on, be a little more relatable. But I love Lindsay.
But I love it. I love the catching those things now. We're all so self-aware of like videos and movies and those little details. I'm like, you know what? I kind of love it because I'm not like, you know what? I'm just watching it for the pure nostalgia feeling. No cinematic masterpiece, just nostalgia.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love it. Okay. I'm actually going to swap number 5 and 6 because I think that's a bit more on your routine as well, and mine depends. But the next one, who's recommended by Andrew Huberman, and we do it differently because unfortunately I'm a dogless dog lover. But for me, the most important thing for energy after that salt water, morning sunlight. Now you have it elevated because you get morning sunlight with the one and only
Sir Benton.
Yes.
Exactly. So Keltie is a morning sunlight girly, and I am a morning sunlight girly with walking a dog. So movement first thing in the morning. And like, sometimes Michael and I will be like, okay, up out of bed, go straight for a walk. And then there's sometimes in our life that we don't, and we'll go like 20 minutes later, whatever it may be. But even this morning, I find it nice not only to get, fresh sunlight, vitamin D, and also movement, but I also just like it as a time that like I don't bring my phone and I'm just like spending it with Michael and Bentley.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, exactly. Like just connect with the actual people in your life versus like everyone else and all the work. Because as soon as you open that phone, we both know 300 messages from people that are asking for your time. So it's like, give the time to the most important people. And it does help with your sleep cycle. If you can get morning sunlight, it will actually help you go to bed easier if you have sunlight in the morning. So there's a little hack as well.
I love it. All right, next
up. Now, I'm not sure how you do your to-do list, but I would come home. We'll get into next step, coffee. Of course, you're like, how have you gone so far without coffee? We'll talk about that in a second. But for me, is my to-do list. Now, here's my little hack. You know how there's all those like gratitude journals and those 3 bullet points and all this? I searched for like a good year trying to find the perfect agenda. And I was like, you know what? My life's different. I don't have the same needs as all these other girls. I was like, I went on Canva. Shout out to Canva. We love Canva. And made my own daily planner. And so it's like, it's got my like, water's important. This is my workout. This is my checklist in the morning. Like what I visualize, my to-do list, waking up at 5 a.m. Like my own personal checklist in the morning, my own checklist for work that I have to do every day kind of thing. And then a little spot of writing and then my to-do list for the day. So I went on Canva and literally wrote out this entire one to me. And I used it on a notepad in my iPad. But if you don't have an iPad, you can print it out and make your own binder. But it's really nice because it's so pretty and perfectly catered towards my life. And so it's kind of like if I check off everything there, my day's good. So I go in the morning and start that off.
I love that. Yeah. And I feel like if you are type B, more like making, a checklist is like not in your nature, but I find it so helpful to just kind of hold yourself accountable. Like yesterday, I was crazy busy because I also had other people relying on me to, get certain things filmed, whatever it may be, like that accountability. So when you work for yourself, you're kind of like, okay, here's a checklist, but like no one's forcing you to get it done. So I like when you give it a deadline, like I must have this filmed and edited by noon. Otherwise I can't do the gym, whatever it may be. So I put on like a consequence. So it helps me kind of hold myself accountable throughout the day.
Oh, I like that. And also another thing that, at least for me, and everyone's different, and this is going to be like, oh, you work too hard, like hard flex, I get it. But for myself, I have a tendency of like committing to too many things, doing too much in the day. But in my mind, I was able to do 30 things, but I only accomplished like 20 of those things. And I go to bed so defeated. And instead of looking at like, wow, you did so much today, I was like, yeah, but I didn't cross every single thing possibly off my to-do list. So I always feel like an utter failure, even though I like way overcommitted. Something about the checklist, and like it's about simplifying it as well, but actually looking back and being like, whoa, I actually did so much. Was it perfect? No. But like there's something like I try to look at my to-do list in that sense of like an accomplishment at the end of the day versus like, yeah, I'd probably get it done without the to-do list, but it is nice to look back and be like, wow, you do things every day. Give yourself some grace.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. Then next up, now you do coffee a little different. I'm going to be honest. My coffee was consumed directly with the lemon water. So back then, first coffee. And there's something I want to do because is this probably too much? Maybe this is Europe, rubbing off on me. But I have my Nespresso first thing in the morning. I do. And I have an espresso pod because I need coffee before I can function. And making a fancy French press without caffeine in my system seems too taxing. So the first thing I have is a classic Nespresso pod, and then I recycle it. But, 2 hours later, then I'll make a little bit of a nicer coffee. So I've already had 2 coffees before you've probably had 1. Because what's your rationale for when you have coffee?
Yes, so I used to be like you, where I'd wake up and immediately reach for coffee. And part of me was kind of like, I don't think this is fantastic to ingest caffeine first thing in the morning, like without even having water. So Keltie and I are Andrew Huberman girlies. Keltie is definitely more than me, but I love picking up his episodes of like, morning routines, evening routines, like I just always like to hear people's perspectives, and he actually recommended waiting a minimum of an hour and a half to 2 hours. And hear me out, like a lot of the times we don't have time, maybe we're going to work, like I completely understand this is a tall ask, but if you can wait even 30 minutes, it'll be so helpful. Like say you usually wait 10 minutes when you wake up, challenge yourself to wait 20, then challenge yourself to wait 30. So now I'm up to that hour and a half, where before I was like, oh, let me just make 20 minutes. And the idea is, he says, if you wait to kind of consume caffeine, you not only maximize energy for the rest of the day, reset your circadian rhythm, but it also can improve your sleep. And that's because if you're caffeinated while like your cortisol levels are elevated, which when you wake up, they first are, you're introducing caffeine into your system when you could do it without it, and it could disrupt your cortisol's natural flow. But if you wait an hour or two for your coffee, the caffeine will kick in as like your cortisol levels are declining. So it kind of helps you in general avoid that midday crash. And that was a huge part of me, was like, why am I always crashing midday and feel a need to have another coffee? If you guys are like me and you are tired of just like constantly being so tired midday, try it out. And I promise you, like after 1 p.m., I don't even think about coffee. I never feel the need. And do you want to also explain the
adenosine? So I'm going to butcher it. Like, okay, let's bring back my science degree, how much I remember about these things and the pathways. But pretty much when you wake up, your body starts producing adenosine, and that is all coffee does. If you're like, oh, coffee gives me energy, it's not like a carb. Like, it doesn't actually give you energy, but it blocks the production of adenosine, which is linked to melatonin. And it's pretty much, I forget where on the pathway it goes, but too much or too little makes you like sleepy kind of thing. So it blocks your body's ability. But when you wake up in the morning, your body's already like getting rid of that on its own. So pretty much what you're doing by drinking coffee, it's like blocking the adenosine production or whatever. So you're just postponing it till later.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're suddenly, that's why it messes up with your sleep cycle later on in the day, because you're kind of just like pushing everything away. You're like, I'm dealing with it later. Versus if you waited 90 minutes, it's cycled through, you're a blank slate. Then you get the energy from it. Like you said, cortisol, all that. Cortisol is also good in the morning. You know, excessive levels of cortisol is bad for you. That's when you're overtraining, undersleeping. But every morning, your body produces cortisol, and that's a good thing. It motivates you to get moving. Just like a little bit of cortisol from exercise forces your body to adapt. You get stronger faster. So just don't hear cortisol and be like, I don't want it. It's all about managing of your cortisol. But that's pretty much what coffee does. And so if you, like you said, you have the morning crash, because all you're doing is pushing that adenosine till later and dealing with it. And that's one of the factors of your afternoon crash. And I say this all as I refuse to do it, but but also I don't really have a crash. And for me, I've actually just cut back a lot of my caffeine. So instead of going to Starbucks and being like, I'll just have a grande, I'm like, I'll have a 2/3 decaf grande. So, right there, just like lowering. And that's been my step. I've lowered my caffeine consumption in the first 2 hours of my day in about half. And so that's a baby step, but can confirm Megs is the world's worst morning person. Like, he is a bear, and he's fully aware of it. Like, you can't get him out of bed. He can't do anything properly before 10 a.m. He works a job that he works at 7 p.m. And he's started cold showers and waiting 90 minutes for coffee, and he's a morning person now. He wakes up at 7 a.m., good to go. So just doing those two things, actually three: morning sunlight, cold shower, waiting 90 minutes, and he's become a morning person. So for my non-morning people that want to be morning people, those suck, but if Megs can do it, anyone can do it.
Totally. Also, even a little hack with going to Starbucks, like if you do want to naturally decrease your caffeine consumption, you could easily ask, like Keltie said, for half calf or decaf. I mean, there's always going to be caffeine even in decaf. It is going to be a coffee bean. But it's kind of a way to trick your brain that you had coffee.
Fully.
But you didn't actually, like, just to wean off of it. Or even if you meet a friend for coffee at 4 p.m. and you are trying hard to break your caffeine habit after 1, just get decaf. Nobody's going to care. It's going to taste the same. If you are like me and like coffee, the taste, that's what I do. I just... Even like if I'm super stressed out that day, I just know caffeine will like heighten everything. So I just get decaf and still enjoy it.
It's so nice. And it's a nice hack after like 2 p.m. because like you said, I think there's, and you would know, you were the one who worked there, but there's still like 15 to 30 milligrams of caffeine in even a decaf. So you can placebo yourself so much because like, no, there is caffeine. And you just get that little, and it's more probably just a dopamine fix than like actual caffeine doing anything. But for my girls who just can't let the caffeine habit go, like me, who used to consume 800 milligrams of caffeine a day, you know what? It's all about baby steps.
Yeah. That's why, like, sometimes energy drinks can be so dangerous in the sense of, like, if they taste so good, like LaCroix, you could just pound so much caffeine. I was at the Arnold Expo this past year, and Celsius was there, and they were handing out free energy drinks. And I asked the guy, "What's your favorite one?" He handed it to me. It was mango, and it was in this black bottle. Let me see, mango black bottle. It had so much. I said, "What's the difference?" And he goes, "It tastes good." And I was like, "It tastes good? That's the only difference?" I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it up. But it was like triple the amount of caffeine as a normal Celsius. So that was actually the difference. That's why it had that black logo. But he didn't even tell me. And so then I remember Brittany, Millie, and I were together, and we all got it. And we're like, okay, we'll try it. And Brittany was the one that turned it around and was like, "Oh my gosh, guys, like, throw this away. Like, do not consume this. We've already had so many free energy drinks." And yeah, I think it was like 3 times the amount of any normal like energy drink. So that man should not have done that.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I will say the one funny thing when I go down to the States or even Europe, like, you guys have so much more energy drinks than us. And like, I just love the taste. So I'm always like, oh, I want to try them. But the funny thing in Canada, Because we just really have Monster, Rockstar, Red Bull. You can get a Ghost or a 3D or a Celsius if you really or like a Alani if you really look for them, but they're usually in like specialty shops. And so the most we ever have is like 120 milligrams of caffeine in like a Monster. But then like all those have like 200 milligrams. See what I mean? Like suddenly like you definitely have like, one Monster a day is not that much caffeine. Even like two is like only 240 milligrams of caffeine if you're having like 2 Monsters. Not saying do that, but I'm just saying not that much. First, you go down the States, you have a Starbucks coffee and a energy drink. That's 600 milligrams of caffeine sometimes right there. Just two beverages versus you can have like 6 coffees, regular coffees before you have that much. So that like it sneaks up on you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That's why you just got to be so careful with energy drinks. I am so picky with my energy drinks. Like I love Ghost sent me their strawberry margarita. It was like strawberry or something. And it was delicious. But I could only have a certain amount because I'm like, I just cannot be someone that pounds drinks, like energy drinks, like I could with coffee.
I would just pound them, and looking back, I was like, wow, I had like severe anxiety. I wonder why. It's like, well, sometimes you would drink how many energy drinks in a day? I'm like, because it like when you're traveling, you wake up, you have one in the morning, you're hungover. The midday, you're like, oh, I'll have a second one. Then you're out drinking and you're mixing it, and then suddenly you're like, did I consume 4 energy drinks today? Yeah. Like, it can happen.
Have you ever felt like drunk when you have too much caffeine?
No, but I've had I've had actual panic attacks, and then I've had like fake panic attacks where I was just like, no, I just like consumed too. I feel like, I wouldn't say I feel drunk, I feel high. Like I feel like jittery, and like that, I would describe it more as like a high feeling than a drunk feeling.
Okay, yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, because I was literally asking Michael this the other day that if I have too much caffeine, I will like shake and like things will move slowly. Like I'll just be like, oh my gosh, I need to stop with the caffeine. Like I just won't feel like myself. My friend's husband, they bought Celsius, and like he didn't know what it was. Like I think he just thought it was like LaCroix. And so he tried one, and he was like, this is good. And he had like 6 in a day. And he said that he had a full-blown panic attack and was like, what is wrong with me? Like freaking out to my friend Maddie. And she's like, well, what did you take today? He was like, something's wrong. I don't know what's going on. My heart is beating so fast. And he's like, I don't know. I just had those like sparkling water Celsius. And she's like, that's an energy drink. And he had no idea. So he had this little meltdown. Isn't that crazy?
Oh no.
He was like, I was so productive for the first 3. And then it just went downhill. And he had him at like night. Like he just didn't know.
Just no idea. Yeah. It's so funny. It's like, whoa, nice soda water. It's a White Claw. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
Like parents, I think that's a sparkling water.
Yeah. Oh, I have a story Ash has about a client that she worked with, and they didn't realize what it was. And so they were like, I love this sparkling water. And then like Ash looked, and it was a White Claw, and she was like, oh no. And like they were like drinking at like 9 a.m. and just like no idea. I'm like, the person couldn't drive or anything, so it was like we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, that's heartwarming when you find out.
Gosh.
Oh God. Just the innocence.
The innocence, truly.
Okay. Oh, almost lost an AirPod. But also nothing more embarrassing than like when someone's stopping you and you have your AirPods in and like, oh, 1 second, and your AirPods fall out. Like no one can look cool with that. It's the most, and no one looks at you and is like, wow, embarrassing. Like we all know it. But when it happens to you and you're like on the ground trying to grab it, humiliating.
Oh
humiliating.
I have like the new AirPods that have the really large like inserts, and I hate them. And they constantly fall out of my ear, and it is so awkward.
Oh, just Apple. They're going to get us all to get the AirPod Maxes. That's what they're doing.
Probably. Exactly.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory. Okay, next up, probably the foundation to our morning routines, because it is a semi-fitness podcast. But number 8, we're both morning workout people. I know one thing for me, it just like sets my day up. I know I've worked out. It gives me more energy. But another thing, I wonder if you feel the same. If I don't work out in the morning, I'm naturally like a cold gal. I'm that girl who's just always cold. But if I work out in the morning, especially if I get my heart rate elevated, I'm not really cold for the rest of the day. But I've noticed like a couple times we've recorded podcasts in the morning, and then like I get to work and I push my workout to like 11, and by like noon I'm shaking, like blue lift. Like this is something I've noticed about myself. How about you?
If you don't work out first thing in the morning?
Yeah, I'm freezing the rest of the day.
Wow. I could safe to say never have had that issue, but I also live in 85 degrees. So could be that. I just I like if you do work out early, it's just a challenge. Like for me, I don't love morning workouts, so I try and do them like twice or 3 times a week. So I just feel like sometimes the gym will linger over me, and like I'll feel like I'm dreading it. I didn't go this morning because I was busy, so I'm like dreading going. Where if you just do it in the morning, you just pump it out, and then you have the rest of your day to be more productive and not even have to think about it.
Yeah, there's not that guilt like, oh, I got this work and I have to get to the gym. It's like all I gotta do is work now, and that's, I find, exactly why I'm a fan of the morning routine, or not routines, workouts. Even if they don't perfectly your favorite thing, I think you're never regret that you did them.
Yeah. I was FaceTiming my friend Sam. My voice memos weren't sending this morning. I've been having issues with my internet, as you know. So I just decided to FaceTime her, and it was 6 a.m. for her, and she lives in New York, and like she was just at the gym, and she was just incline walking and we just caught up, and I was like, oh my gosh, go you, 6 a.m. So that meant she probably got up at like 5 to like have coffee, walk to her gym, everything like that. I was like, go Sam.
She's killing life. We all wish we can be that.
I know, right? I was like, wow, I am so jealous.
I love it. And leading that, a nice little next hack, we have number 10, which if you're kind of sitting there and you're like, wow, sounds nice working out in the morning, but I'm not going to. I'm going to hit snooze. The best hack is either accountability buddy or a fitness class. For me, because, I travel a lot. I'm always in different time zones. My jet lag's always off. One thing that keeps me accountable to like resetting onto it is I'll book like an early morning 6, 7 a.m. workout class, and then you're forced to get out of bed and be there. Versus like, especially when we work from home, a lot of people that work from home now, you can always like push it. Then you just take an extra 15 minutes with your coffee, an extra 10 minutes doing this. Like suddenly you're like, no, I have to be out the door. Especially for someone who doesn't have a job, or or like a job, not doesn't have a job, doesn't have a job you have to go to, or if that's really hard for you to get out of bed before your 9 a.m., fitness class.
Yes, I love that. Way back when I first started my fitness journey, I even remember seeing this vlog. I would go to this one spin class every morning, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. This was like my peak of me being so dedicated to working out. I would train in the afternoons, like weight lift, and I would do my cardio in the morning. And it was nice because I'd wake up at 4:30, make a cup of coffee, and I would literally drive myself with coffee and sit in that parking lot for 30 minutes and have it and just like have alone time. And then I go get a good sweat in. And then by the time I'm done, it's still dark when I come out. Like I love that because then I feel like I was so productive. So and also I would never be getting up at 4:30 if it was just for me to sit on my computer at home. Yeah.
That feeling is nice. I will say, as much as I kind of hate being that early morning 5 a.m. person, when you've gotten a lot done before 7 and you just like look out a window or you're outside, it's still dark, you're like, wow, I feel good about myself. It sucks before, but it always pays off.
That's what I loved about New York was any time there was someone for a certain time frame. Like people that want to go out at 2 a.m., there's a group for that. There's an area for that. If you want to go to a 5 a.m. workout, it's going to still be like flooded with people going to work. Like I just always loved that. It was never quiet.
Yeah, love that. Oh, New York vibes. So good.
I know.
Now that was kind of our main steps of our morning routine, but I have like 2 little hacks I thought I'd throw out at the end. Now, one thing you'll know we've kind of not mentioned is our phones, social media. Now, for me, that's another, like the coffee. It's a bad habit and it's hard to break. Like I give credit to anyone who's like, I'm just not drinking coffee. I just don't go on social media. I was like, that's cool, but like I'm addicted, so it doesn't really work like that for me.
Totally.
But what I did is I naturally want to look at the news. I kind of want to know what's happening when I'm having my coffee. I just want something to look at. And like, I don't want to look at the news on TV because that's just going to be the most depressing thing. Also, you just open Instagram. You don't know who you're going to compare yourself to, anything. So I've made a fake burner Twitter account. And so I don't tweet on it. I don't mention anyone. No one knows it. It's just one of those like user 345 Nick. And I follow like 10 things that I know are like so wholesome. So wholesome. Like all they're going to tell me is like the new coffee shop in Vancouver or like the 10 best universities to go to in Canada, or just like the weather, learn a new Swedish word of the day. And so it's like slightly really just happy news. And it's just a nice thing to scroll through. You're not going to be told the world's burning down. You're not going to be, comparing yourself to anyone else. But I've also have an Instagram, I guess, but I find Instagram is so easy to go to that explore page and then you're just scrolling through reels. And then that's why I was like, I don't want to be fed an algorithm. I want to be fed what I want to be fed. So you could do it for Instagram, but like I just find Twitter, you can like curate your own newspaper in the morning. So if you can't fully break the social media habit, just like make social media just a little bit healthier in the morning.
I love that. That's a great take. I'm like, I need to be better about it. It's more like I don't necessarily scroll on social media. It's just like when I wake up, I'm flooded with texts and flooded with like alerts to do things because I'm technically 4 hours ahead of Pacific time. And like I'll go to bed early. So then it's like everyone's still working. So I'll like have to answer them first thing in the morning. So that's for me. I'm like, I'll just kind of leave it in bed or I'll put it in my office. And then once I sit down, get ready, then I'll get on it. But like dude, call me crazy. I don't know if this is an age thing, but as I get older, the less and less I care to go on social media.
Oh, fully.
And like,
I think it's a combo. Go on.
I understand it's our job and I do love social media, but I don't have that like need to like see what people are doing. It's more of like, I'm just going to worry about myself and what I'm doing and like work on me. And I don't know, like I do like social media, but if I'm being 100% honest, I just do not, I don't really go on TikTok. Like I don't watch as much YouTube as I used to. Like I like making the content, but I just am not a big consumer as much anymore.
I think it's a combo of a couple things. I think social media was a lot more fun to consume, 5-10 years ago, because it was like you consumed it, then you were done. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, what's on Instagram? You kind of consumed it. You saw what everyone was doing and you felt updated. Now it's like I'm going into a forever hole of being updated on things I should do. So it's almost like kind of, you look at it, it's like it just, there's that negative pull and it's exhausting. So you're like getting pulled into it. It's a little exhausting because you're comparing yourself in so many different ways. And also I think age has a little to do with it because when you're under 21, you have your high school friends, you have your college friends, like you genuinely want to know what that group of people is doing. There's that like FOMO. The older you get, there's a little bit less FOMO. You only know the FOMO unless you're actually on it. You know what I mean? Like something I go on it, it's like, wow, all these people are doing this. I feel bad, but it's not like genuinely looking for what Becky Sue is doing kind of vibe. And yeah, it just, there's too much to do now that it's overwhelming. And it just is it's a weird place social media is right now.
Do you remember in college, like, I don't know if you ever did this, but for me, I would, like, Snapchat was the thing back in college. Like, Instagram a little bit, but, like, a lot of people would Snapchat, and I would love, like, when people would go out, or if you would wake up early in the morning, you could see all of their snaps before they delete it. And they'd be, like, drunk at a frat party, and then, like, my sorority weren't allowed to post, like, anything bad. And so these girls would be drunk, post, and then it'd be always taken down by like 10 a.m. So I would love waking. I wasn't a big like, I didn't go out very often. So I would be like, ha ha ha, what are these people doing? And it was like, I just loved it because I was always up because I usually wasn't like drinking the night before or something.
Yeah, see, we were sort of a little reverse because I was said person deleting that. But oh crap, what is on my Snapchat story? So I fell into that. But it was the same idea. Like if I wasn't going out because we were only allowed to go out on Saturdays when we played basketball. So like Saturday mornings, I'd be like, oh, what has happened? And all that. Sunday mornings, I was frantically deleting whatever the hell I posted on there. But I think that's also like social media isn't as raw and real now. It's so curated.
Yes.
That like there's just not. It's just like you're just going on. It's very like I love Pinterest because Pinterest I'm going on to be inspired, but like social media is like everybody's Pinterest board now, and it's just like, look how perfect my life is, and this is my job, and it's great, and we don't want to hate on it. Like obviously we have a career thanks to it, but I just think like it's a bit more like checking your emails now than it is like just being like, oh, what are my friends stupidly doing?
I do like close friends though. I think it's cool Instagram added that. Yeah. I think it's hilarious because you'll see a lot of your friends that would not post like to, whatever account they had. It's more like just solely for close friends that won't judge them for X, Y, and Z. And I think it's hilarious to watch them. I'm like, I'm not a big, I don't post often on mine, but I just love watching everybody's.
Same. As soon as you see that green, you're like, yes.
Yes.
I'm in the club. I'm in the club.
Yeah, there's the best close friends is fitness Caleb Marshall. I met him at the Knot. I think I butchered that name, but Caleb, I met him at the Knot, him and his fiance, and they are hilarious together. And his close friends is a great time. It is so funny to watch, like, his life, and he's just like a very funny guy. Like, like that's his job, is to make people laugh while he dances, and the close friends it's a party.
I love it. Okay, then I thought we'd end off with one last tip, which is not a tip at all, but the best morning routine hack is having a proper night routine. So what are like 2 or 3 non-negotiables in your nighttime routine?
Okay, well, I guess this is where my social media comes in, is Michael and I actually do really hard to stay off social media when we spend time together. So usually we'll be done working and I'll put my phone on do not disturb, and like we try not to scroll. Of course, we're watching MasterChef and we're like, what happened to that person? We'll go creep on them.
Yeah.
But it's not when
that's different.
like...
That's different.
Totally, yeah. So that's something I've always been big on, is I used to really struggle on scrolling constantly at night. Like always just couldn't. And then it would make me stay awake because of the light. So I just really made like a hard stop that I could not do that anymore. And so we just put away our phones, put on do not disturb, and there you go. What is one of yours?
I would be the same. No social media kind of. I don't have like a time, but I just know after 8 p.m. like kind of after dinner, I'm like, no social media.
Yeah.
For me, skincare routine, cold room. I have 4 Sigmatic like sleepy tea, and then just like an hour before, just unwind. Like just you know what I mean. Just kind of let myself be. Put on my sage diffuser, calm things, not bright lights, skincare, and just slowly let myself get tired, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Wow, yours
8 hours
like,
of sleep is
I thought I was doing good with my one step. Yours sounds very nice and relaxing.
Mine's like, because I tend to like burn myself out till 8:30, and I'm trying to set up some things to stop this happen. But like 9 to 10 is like my hard. I gotta take my skincare, get my tea, and just. I used to have one of those ones that was like kind of like my morning routine, which was like structure, do this, and then I was so exhausted that I needed to rest after my like nighttime routine and just lay there for an hour because I was exhausted to even get into bed. And now I'm like, just like ease into it for the last hour, just kind of go with the flow, and then that's helped me actually go to bed early versus like an overcomplicated night routine, and I stay up late doing my night routine.
Yeah, I love that. I love that for you.
Perfect. Oh, thank you. Trying. Well, we're trying to do this thing called burnout and avoid it at all costs. And we're not perfect, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Hopefully these tips helped you, ladies and gentlemen.
And just to bring us back to our not as productive selves, we're going to do a confession session for you guys. We got one in. If you didn't know, you can hit us up on Hitting the Bars on Instagram. Submit some kind of confession. Something you got to get off your chest. Something that you think us gals on the Hitting the Bars community might just have a little giggle at, a little insider joke. And I got one for you today, Sav. I think you'll enjoy this. It tends to be a theme we've had many of times, but you know what? We're just going to keep going with it. I was so drunk coming home from a frat party. Phone dead. Door code written on my hand after not getting it in. Sorry, let me say that part again. Phone dead. What's a FWP? Fob? Maybe she tried to say?
Fob?
I'm going to say it was fob.
Yeah, I think it's
fob. Like your fob. Okay, that's what it is. Okay. Phone dead, fob door code written on my hand after not getting in my own room. I somehow made it to his room and peed in his bed in my sleep with him there. 5 years later, we're still happily in love and going strong.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I missed the first part. How did she know this
She
guy?
didn't have the full thing. So I think it was like she just started dating this guy. And that she got locked out of her. She got locked out of her place, so she went to his, peed in his bed, and now they're madly in love still 5 years later. Like, what? That is a modern day romance. 100%. There you go, ladies. See, you're all scared to pee in front of your boy. That's how little they care. You know what I mean? You can pee in their bed, and if you know the saying, if he would, he would. There's an example. You're like, oh, he's like taking too long to get back, and he's not really like making a move. Maybe he's not into you. He's into you if you're willing to pee in his bed, and he still likes you. That's the level of love guys get. It's one or the other. There's no in between.
Absolutely. I recently just watched He's Just Not That Into You, the movie, for the first time, and literally, if a guy's into you, he'll make it very, very known. And clearly, this did it for him.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the TV show Billions?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, it's good. It's basically about this billionaire that like, I think he had like a lawyer was after him, and the lawyer's the big fat liar guy, like from the show with Frankie Muniz and Amanda Bynes, that actor. But the first scene is literally him, or no, her peeing on him, and I'm like, maybe the guy's into peeing. I have no idea, but I remember Michael and I watched him. We're like, what show are we watching? Like, that's the opening scene, pee, and you're like, oh, all right.
You know what? I love a hard open. Just like get into it. Just be like, you know what? This is the shit you're going to see on this television show. Be prepared.
That was like the craziest we saw, though. That's where I'm like, it must just be like, in order to really grab attention from people now, you have to be so drastic. You know, like Game of Thrones, where you date your uncle, things like that.
Yeah. At least they can stay consistent with that. That goes through the whole show. You know what I mean? They're not just hooking you in. They're like, that's why Game of Thrones is good. They'll hook you in with something like that. You're like, oh, they'll never get worse than that. 3 episodes in, and you're like, they got worse than that. So that's why it's good. Everyone else is like, oh, we'll give you the best thing at the start. And the Game of Thrones is like, haha, watch us.
Yes, exactly. I almost said 100%. Editing our podcast, have realized how much I say 100%, and someone needs to not allow me to do that.
You know what? And that's also Meg says it all the time too. So
Really?
I probably say it too. I think it's just slang. It's a millennial slang. You say 100%.
Well, what's Gen Z
overcommit.
Then? Oh, bet.
There's zero. Bet.
I hate that. I'm like, what are you betting? What does bet mean?
What are you betting? That's how I'm going to respond. Next time a Gen Z is like, bet. I'm like, how much?
Yes. How much? Oh, we're placing a bet on this?
$20. Double or nothing.
Yeah. You want to go 20?
Yeah. That's my new response.
Yeah.
They'll be like, you freaking millennials, stop with it. I'm like, we're on the same side, guys. You know what? We're fighting the boomers together. So let's bond a little bit.
Yeah. Can't we coexist? Can't you let us still stay relevant and cool?
We were all at school at the same time. We have the same memories. You're just a little younger. Okay?
True.
We're all in the same boat.
Yes.
We all watch the same television until the next generation comes, and I'm like, they have no idea what I'm talking about when I say like Miley Cyrus. So I was like, okay, then we need to part ways. But we're still kind of relatively in the same bucket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, we're going to sign off, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to today's podcast. Don't forget to leave a review. If you do, we can share it on our podcast. We always appreciate. And have a fantastic day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.